Hi, and welcome to the demonstration of the EA Framework System Architect add-on for classification. This add-on does a couple of things. It supplies some properties to extend System Architect to collect security classification markings, and those levels are customizable by the end user. It also uses these markings to test or rate the diagrams that have been marked and ensure that they're marked at a high enough classification level based on their content. Essentially, you set the appropriate security classification level for a diagram. In this case, we'll go with the default middle for the demonstration. Notice that the three properties that will always appear, the classification, caveat, and control system, these values, the values in the drop-down lists, can and should be set to the appropriate entries based on your organization's need in the supplied property file. Having just set the classification level for the entire diagram, we'll now set the values for the diagram content, or the symbols in this case and their definitions. And this is done simply by editing the object as usual. The add-on will have added a tab called Classification with the appropriate properties. You simply navigate to that tab and fill in the values as appropriate. So on this particular object, we'll set the classification level at high. Since we've changed or set the classification level for the objects in the encyclopedia, rather than try to assess the impact of that change manually and going and reading each and every object and hoping we don't miss anything, we'll use the macro included with the rater to determine the impact on this diagram. Installation of the macro will have added a new menu item to System Architect under the Tools menu. For this part of the demonstration, we'll just assess the current diagram using the rater. Clicking the Check Current Diagram brings up the analysis result. In this particular case, for this simplistic example, we'll notice that the analysis reveals that the class level is bad while the caveat level is good. Selecting the item of interest in the list and clicking View gives details of the analysis. Using this dialog, we can see what caused the classification conflict, and we can also fix that problem as we see fit. And remember, this classification level is the minimum level allowed based on the content. It may actually be higher. Of course, adding this classification information and caveat levels to each thing in the encyclopedia could be time-consuming and tedious. The mass changer supplied with the classification rater can make the job much easier and quicker. Selecting the desired items from the list and selecting the desired classification and/or caveat, and then clicking on the Change Class or Change Caveat buttons will update the selected items with the selected values. The status of the process will be indicated in the status box in the lower left in case there's a lot of data that's being changed at one time and may take a few seconds. Having made mass changes to many items in the encyclopedia, the next thing really to do would be to run the classification rater for the entire encyclopedia. So this time we'll click the Check Encyclopedia button. The same dialog box we saw before this time indicates all the areas where it found matching and mismatching classification caveat markings, and we can go about addressing each one of those in turn. To correct any classification or caveat conflicts, we use this dialog just as we did before to deal with the single diagram, and save the results and rerun to ensure that everything is as it should be. I want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please email us at sales@eaframeworks.com. If you're interested in purchasing this add-on, simply visit us at eaframeworks.com and you can purchase and download the product directly from the website. Thank you very much.